about 6, 7 years ago. One of my original clients, he wanted this cool movable, I'm gonna call it pod or box. I came in with a container concept because I've been doing it for a while, and he didn't like it looking like a container. He wanted to look architectural. And so the cladding just kind of was sort of our thing, to clad a container to make it look like an architectural box. Obviously you can see these containers have no cladding. It's off the ship. We just cut holes. This we added an extra layer. And you can see there's a gap right here. And that's the old container. These are aluminum posts. And so this allows for any heat and air to escape, so there's not direct sun against the metal of the container. I love this unit, the shape of it, just because I think it's a really cool rectangular box. It looks great, especially in landscape.
So it's basically panels, right?
It's panels. We have these mechanically fastened just because we move this around so much. It's a special 3M adhesive. You can see it just, there's a cavity. We've used this unit with different panels, so we remove these and replace them. Couple thing design in the living room / bedroom makes this unit. It's kind of cool because it can go into, it can be a standing workspace. You can go down to a coffee table height. You can go down to the 10-inch height, and then you can also go down and it slides away. It literally just pushes back under the couch. These pillows go away, and then simple bed. There's a very simple adjustment in the legs to make it fairly easy to put up and down, and especially, you know, our concern was if you're doing this yourself, it's not awkward. Simple bed, but still, not a nice room. You still have a lot of room where you have 2 people can walk through. Tiny homes are very trendy, and so one thing when we were doing this, we did not want, which we found in a lot of research on tiny homes, is sometimes there's a transition in the floor. Between rooms, sometimes you see them step up to a bathroom. To me, any thresholds in a house, you lose some of the flow. It's a division. So we made sure we didn't have to elevate this room for plumbing. We put the toilet on that side, and we did this pop out for the waste. So we kept our floor flat. We just took what we found on tiny homes and tried to say, hey, how do we make that feel more luxurious or feel more of an open space?
This is actually the door. I mean, it doesn't look like the door anymore.
This is the container door. Now, if you look at it like a normal container door, you'll see there's a big hardware clasp. Those got bulky. We wanted to keep the kind of slick metal look. So we, remove those, and we just add a very simple latch for travel or to keep this in like a heavy wind area. And it also lets us create a lower transition floor because those actually have the big clasp you need to attach to the container. Like you can see, this is a container. This is the actual factory container. You know, these are the container hinges. Again, we tried to create no threshold. And so taking the hardware off allowed us to bring the deck up level. Because remember, the containers have about a 6-inch rail. And what we wanted here is to have no transition. Because sometimes we just plop a container down, it feels like you're stepping into something, where this is let in to the surroundings, and so it really just, there's a seamless transition. And I think that helps on creating the flow, psychologically too, that it's not like you're stepping out, it's just kind of all around you. I have a little RV, and like it's the one thing that really bugs me is you have to climb up and you're in or you're out. And so there's it feels like you can kind of hang out anywhere. And it's still like, this is a unit that can be going down the road, right? You can put it on the truck and go down the road. So it's the same kind of concept. So the argument would be, why do you even use a container if you don't see it? Why didn't you just build your own box? Well, first, containers are reusable. It's a great resource. So by us going and creating a structure that's going to be the same engineering level as a container with that type of envelope would be more expensive than buying a pre-engineered container. This is also a size that you can transport, and we meet all the road, the trailer has the hookups. So when we drag this thing on, there's 4 standard hookups for a container. If you need to crane it, if you need to drag it up on a tow truck. No, I can't get there. It has all the base and everything that, why we love containers so much. If you excavate it down under the cladding, it expose the conventional trailer hookups. And there's all kinds of connections. If it's a crane, if it's a tow truck, there's another loop where you can hook a chain to. So it just allows us to move that thing very easily without damaging any of the cladding. The question comes up about foundation. Now, a container, you don't really need a structural or concrete foundation. You could do it like a mobile home where you can do compacted base as long as your drainage is away from your platform. And then so this whole indoor-outdoor, what we wanted to do is we kept the container doors on, we stripped them from all the hardware, and we kept these as kind of architectural features. Sure, they still close, you can close and lock it up, but we just thought it extends this wall line and then gives you a little bit of privacy. This is just kind of showing what you could do. You could do a cool outdoor bathtub, really anything you want to make the bathroom just feel a little more spacious. This is our bathroom. We came up with doing it all in Corian. Corian is a product, you know, in the 90s you kind of associated with countertops. For me, it was ugly, speckled green countertops, which was kind of the fad. And a few years back, I did a couple jobs with some architects that spec'd Corian. And I saw it on the plans. I'm like, Corian? That doesn't make sense, you know? I'm like, is it, you know, they said seamless Corian. And so we looked into it, and this was maybe 8 years ago. And it's a product that you can sand the seams. There's seams in here, and you can't see them. What you can do is you can put these in, sand them, and it all glues and adheres to our substrate, and it flexes, and it's waterproof everywhere. You can sand the floors. You can see right now, obviously white, some people might not love the white, but you can sand them after heavy use, and it looks brand new again. It also gives us just a seamless look of not having tile. There's not busy, and also it expands the room, kind of tricks the design to make it look a lot bigger. Simple shower, a little over 2 feet by 36. We do have some ADA enclosures. This sink, we went with a very simple pedestal just because of making it feel bigger, making it easier to navigate. We can see this will pop out. That's where our vent stack is. Some of our utilities are. We put them because we wanted to keep the envelope solid, and we don't want to penetrate the envelope. That we ran our plumbing vents and everything in this compartment. So container, obviously containers here. This is where, when what we call the factory doors of a container, when they close, this is the line. And I mean, obviously, when everything's closed up, that would be a small space. So we did a 2-door system where we kept the factory doors, and we also added the sliders.
So most apartments or houses wish they could have a bathroom like this. I mean, we are talking about a container, but
yeah, I mean, this is, again, we're looking at an 8 by 20 foot container. You see these things going in the road or in storage, and right now it doesn't feel like you're in a metal box of a container. You know, this is a very high-end bathroom. But also, we're taking that 20 feet and making it feel like 30 feet or 4, you know, it just feels so much bigger by using our outdoors. And the same thing with those 2 doors. You can do a whole seating. You can do an outdoor. You can create outdoor rooms at all these spots. So again, accordion doors. You still have room to get around, which we felt, you know, this is a queen size bed. Full to me. It's hard to sleep 2 people. This was the biggest we can get, still feeling comfortable, still being able to make the bed, still feeling you could have 2 people access and walk around comfortably. You have plenty of storage. We kind of make everything can go away, put it in its place. So the kitchen, a microwave. I mean, our thing was for this, it's it's not as much tiny home as maybe tiny room, large room, suite. Closet. It gives you enough room, hang up some clothes. And then down here, this is where we like to pull a cube or some chairs. This is where you can kind of pull it out and make some fun furniture. Everything's kind of pushed to open, half the hardware. We try to use every inch, obviously, because it's a small space. And this is the AC. And then this is actually a place where you could put AV equipment. We have it wired for a TV. For some reason, I just think TVs are becoming obsolete. So everything in this is white rift oak plywood, and it's mechanically and also bonded to strips on the insulation. So there's a lot of flex and give when it's traveling. You can see the baseboard, we had a 1/2 inch reveal. Everything's meant to go down the highway, flexing, moving, rattling. Plywood, it handles extremely well. Like you could see, we've had these doors open on a rainstorm. We got a little leaks. We could sand that off, but it's plywood. It's not drywall. We don't use drywall because of nail pops. We looked at like the MDO board and some of the RV type. It just didn't feel as solid when you're touching it. This is real wood. We did all the real wood jams. So it just gives you a little bit of feeling of something a little bit extra.
Kind of like things we have forgotten, the experience of touching a button that doesn't feel plasticky. Or
Yes, it's very cool. Like it's a rocker, right? It's a knob. It's like you'd have on your amp or your guitar. When you have something this small, some of those details draw your attention more. A big house, you might not do that, but here we're like, this is a little more high end. A lot of this began in the Woolsey Fire, 2018. A fire broke out in Malibu alone, burned over 600 homes. And what we found out during those fires, that some of the codes, stucco, hour ratings, kind of got thrown out the window and they didn't work. And a lot of it was from heat transfer. You have a fire that hot, burning that fast next to a house. So when we built this, that extra 2 inches of shielding deflects so much heat that we felt it's going to take those extreme temperatures a lot better than what we've been building. This is the Buhaus unit, which is a container, soup to nuts, dropped in turnkey on your house. We took the name Buhaus from Bauhaus, which is a European, the old design school, and we added "boo" to it as kind of a play on words of Malibu. In Malibu, a lot of people refer to this stuff as the Boo. This is a whole learning center. This is basically, there's a 20-foot over there, this is a 40-foot, and we used very basic containers, and these are actually what they call weather tight. They're a little more beat up. You can see they've been on the ships for years. They call them weather tight because they don't leak, but they're a lesser grade of container. And these are just painted black, some simple insulation, and again, it's a showroom.
You have so much glass and so much cut. I've heard that makes it difficult, right? Then you have to start reinforcing and supporting and adding, and it becomes expensive. Is that true?
This container is interesting because this is for one purpose only, is to showcase windows. Obviously, we welded in headers, solid tube steel, so it is reinforced, but this is not travel weary because of the shear. So this would not be movable, not mobile.
But if someone didn't want something mobile, would it make sense?
100%. If you're really worried, definitely consult with an engineer about what they consider a moment frame, is picking up the steel, how you weld it, how you connect it to the base to make sure you don't lose any of that racking, or you keep the shear value. I'm sure an engineer can give you recommendations. We have engineers that give you recommendations all the time. This was non-engineered. This is just seat of our pants engineering, which most people do. I mean, most people kind of take these containers and go, hey, if I cut this, how does it work? I do have building experience, so I hope it's working, but I would not recommend anybody just to cut holes and, willy-nilly. This whole thing is just some AC plywood that we're starting to stain black. The interior is pretty much something you go to your local hardware store. It's black stain, roll it away, and I mean, it's kind of a cool way to see what you can do with, not much expense involved. We're gonna do some for lights. We are gonna do just some track lighting covering this seam with a bunch of different LED. It's a level, right? It's a level of how much you plug and play in the container. You can do this with some simple insulation, some simple drywall for $15,000. You can do one of those for $50,000 for a build. It's just a level you put into it and the level of finish. This unit, first of all, I love this unit, the shape of it, just because I think it's a really cool rectangular box. It looks great, especially in landscape. If you have a rolling hills, of meadow grasses, and there's just really square box, the architectural concept of it, I think, is what drawn to me at the first, with a shiny aluminum or a corten, a rusted look, maybe in the desert. So I always liked it by itself. But when you start really sitting down and thinking how boxes, it's like when you're a kid and you play with blocks, you start stacking blocks. There's no really limit to what you can do with 40s, 20-foot containers and how you stack them and overhang them and kind of all clip together. And this is just, we call this unit, model 1. So this is our first unit, and we kind of stuck to something that we can mass produce, and we can try to get that price down, because once you go into custom, prices start going up. And we want to make it where that price gets down, where it's affordable to someone that wants an office, wants something in their backyard, and doesn't have to go a ground up build, which we all know is the cost factor there can explode.